Oh ho ho ho, this is trouble because that's a Cinnabon behind me.
I just need a mini bon.
Okay, man. So past Chris would have never passed up an opportunity to pick up a Cinnabon, I can tell you that. So here's the thing, I have an addictive personality, so I can't moderate. I'm like the alcoholic who can't have one drink. If I eat a bite of Cinnabon, the whole Cinnabon's going down and I'm going back for another, and I'll be back tomorrow. But I'm fascinated by people like my wife and my daughter who can moderate. When's the last time you had a Cinnabon?
It's been years.
But I asked you to do it for the camera, right? So,
You know, anything for the camera.
is it good?
Every bit as good as I remember and dream about.
My daughter Annie has 5 kids, and somehow they love vegetables even though they get to have the occasional cinnamon roll. And I wanted to hear how she does it. By the way, as crazy as it sounds, I honestly don't miss cinnamon rolls anymore. I've just gotten over it, my taste buds have changed, and I love the raspberries.
Do you ever have a mismatch between the way you aspire to eat and the food you actually end up putting in your mouth? You're not alone. I've got a powerful tool to share with you today to help you stick to your healthy diet. I call it the magical moment of self-control. There are only 2 or 3 of these magical moments in any given week, and if you get them right, all the rest is gravy. Have you ever noticed that we are constantly being offered unhealthy food? From the complimentary cookie at the car wash to the candy at the dentist's office. Conflict of interest, anyone? To the cake at book group, or the nonverbal cues like the familiar signage for fast food or the waft of Cinnabon at the mall. The vast majority of time I'm confronted with an unexpected offer for unhealthy food, I just say no thank you. And sometimes this catches people off guard because it's not a common answer, I guess. And sometimes they even comment on my amount of self-control, or they extol my resolve and they bemoan their own inability to say no to sugary treats. And you know what? I think they think I have more self-control than they do. That's just not true. In fact, I might even have less. Have you ever had the experience of a pan of brownies sitting on your kitchen counter? I have, and brownies hit all my fudgy chocolate buttons. I don't even need them to be warm for them to call to me. And I'll walk in the kitchen and do this little mental dance. Maybe a corner won't matter because corners don't have calories. Maybe I'll just have half a brownie because you know what? That's pretty virtuous. I'm not eating the whole brownie. Of course, when you eat half, what happens to that leftover half is it sits there like a wounded zebra. And all of a sudden, the next time I'm in the kitchen, I am a lion and I have to weed that zebra out for the good of the herd. Pretty soon, that pan of brownies gets whittled down. And by the end of the day, if I have limited myself to only 2 or 3, I'm feeling pretty virtuous. But I'm also feeling pretty drained, and I have a limited amount of self-control. So if I have used it up battling with brownies, I'm far more likely to snap at my kids, to not put forth the effort to make the dinner I had planned, to not put myself to bed but stay up too late for no good reason. Does any of this sound familiar? Of course, if I didn't have the pan of brownies on my kitchen counter in the first place, I wouldn't have eaten 3 of them, and I wouldn't have worn myself out with the mental battle. So one beautiful solution to this particular problem is don't put the pan of brownies on your kitchen counter in the first place. No. I'm not saying never have another brownie again. I wouldn't say that. In fact, there's many whole food plant-based brownie recipes out there that are delicious. And even a regular brownie every great once in a while, totally fine when the vast majority of your diet is full of whole food plants. However, what I am saying is that if I have a pan of brownies on my kitchen counter, I have to acknowledge its ultimate fate is either my stomach, someone else's stomach, or the garbage can. Those are the only options, wrestle as I may with whether I'm going to eat it or how much. The same goes for the snack food you bought your kids. If it's a processed food and it's sitting in your cupboard, your kids are going to ask for it. And you can say no or put them off, but eventually either they're going to eat it or you're going to eat it or it's going to end up in the trash can. Those are the only options. That carton of ice cream in the freezer, same thing. We don't have infinite patience or self-control. And we all have moments of stress where we're more likely to cave and eat something that we'll regret later. So how do we reconcile our desire to eat healthy with the real life barrage of temptations with unhealthy food, both at home and almost everywhere we go? Unfortunately, I don't know many ways to increase the amount of self-control I have on a given day, so I try to be strategic with the self-control I do have. This is where magical moments of self-control come in. Did you notice what all my examples had in common? The brownies on the counter, the snack food in the pantry, the ice cream in your freezer. None of them appeared there instantly or mysteriously. You bought them all, or their ingredients, at the grocery store at some point. So you might guess, aha, the grocery store, that's where your magical moment of self-control comes in, before you put the item in your shopping cart. But I would say no. In the grocery store, the marketing of these foods and the well-trod paths from our previous shopping trips all lead us into old habits that we're trying to step away from. Even if we enter the grocery store with good intentions, we find ourselves reaching for old favorites that don't do our health any favors. If we want to make a diet change to stop our kids from eating junk food and end the battling with brownies, we're going to need to take advantage of a magical moment that comes before the grocery store. Your magical moment of self-control is when you make your shopping list. You do make a shopping list, right? For sticking to a budget, for sticking to a diet, a grocery list is key. Meal planning is not my favorite chore, so I prefer to only do it once a month. I'll put a link in the description box for my tutorial on how to do that in case you're interested. But you don't have to do it once a month. You can plan once a week. You can even plan just a few days at a time. But the key is to plan. It doesn't have to be fancy. Just visualize what you would like to eat and write it down. If you need recipes, pull them out, put the ingredients on the list. Lentil soup, berry oatmeal, a big Asian salad, roasted veggies on pasta, hummus sandwiches, whatever you're gonna eat, put all that on the list. And the key is to just make sure there's a plenty of food on there and none of which you feel conflicted about. They're all things you're happy to eat. The idea is to put items on your grocery list when you are in full possession of yourself and your ideals, not when you're in a mid-afternoon slump and feeling hangry and rifling through the pantry for snacks. That's not the time to make the grocery list. At this magical moment, the self-control you need is just to sit down and make the list. What you put on there is probably not that difficult to come up with because you're not under the influence of the warm smell of brownies or all the familiar food labels that you've bought in the past. You're able to look at delicious recipes that sound good to you and limit the items on your list to those foods you feel good about eating. Your next magical moment of self-control, get ready for it, at the grocery store door, okay? Right before you walk in the grocery store, you've got your list. I keep mine on my cell phone so I don't forget it at home. You've got your list and you've got to make a resolve. No impulse buys except in the produce aisle. When you're in the produce section and you see those beautiful pomegranates or the apples that are on sale, get them for sure. But anywhere else in the store, if it's not on the list, you're not getting it. So you don't even need to wander into the Cheetos aisle. Just skip it. If it's not on the list, you're not getting it. If you make a habit of using those two magical moments of self-control, you've got your grocery list and you're not impulse buying at the store outside of produce, your home is going to be full of good, healthy food that you don't feel conflicted about eating. Wonderful. But what happens when you leave your house? What about all those places that are calling you with their treats and those friends that are handing you cookies? Having a good plan of what to eat at home makes it easier to resist fast food because you're not in a bind without any plans of what to eat. And it also keeps you out of that blood sugar roller coaster where you're constantly looking for your next sugary fix. But in the food culture in which we live, you're constantly going to be offered temptations anyway. It's just a fact of our life. So what do? You just say no. Simple, too simple. No thank you is your new automatic response when people offer you unexpected, unhealthy food. Try it. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but think of the opportunity you're giving others to do the same. We are all struggling with this same problem, and sometimes it only takes one person to give other people permission to do the same thing. The best analogy I can think of is actually to smoking. When I was a kid, I decided not to smoke cigarettes for a variety of reasons. I knew it was not healthy for me. I didn't like the idea of smelling that way. I didn't want the stains on my teeth. I just decided not to. And I decided at a neutral time when I was thinking clearly, knowing that in the moment when other people were smoking or offering me a cigarette, there might be other allures to smoke in that moment. I decided ahead, and in the moment, wasn't even tempted. It wasn't a question then. The question had been answered. So I apply this to unhealthy food. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying brownies and cigarettes are equivalent, but actually, the processed food marketing is incredibly insidious.
And Reese's Puff cereal, an epic part of a complete breakfast.
And there are comparisons you can draw between it and the previous cigarette marketing we had for decades. It's kind of eerie, actually.
This is the taste for today's woman, tailored slim for your hands.
So we need to be wise. If you're eating a totally whole food, plant-based diet, you're done. One magical moment to make your grocery list, one magical moment in the beginning of the grocery store, and one magical moment where you say, I'm going to say no to everything unhealthy. Done. But if you're like me, you're not quite done. When my husband and I decided to change to a whole food plant-based diet over a decade ago, we did not switch to 100% whole food plant-based diet. We decided from the beginning we're shooting for at least 90%, which means I didn't give up brownies entirely. I still love the occasional brownie. But it means that we're pretty choosy about the things we eat outside of a whole food plant-based diet. Here's how we handle it. The next magical moment for us is when I check my calendar for the week ahead. I just look at what's coming. Are there social events, church events, kids' birthday parties? What kind of things are on our calendar? Right now with COVID, it's a lot emptier. But I know the day will come when we'll be invited to a lot of events that have a lot of treats again. And what I do is I make any planned exceptions at that point. So when I'm in a cool, collected state of mind, I decide, yeah, at that church social, I'm going to pick a dessert if something looks really good. What that means for me, though, is the other times I'm just going to say no. So at book club, I'm looking for fresh fruit or veggies. I'm offering to bring my own thing to contribute. But I'm not going to be staring down those cookies and having any kind of internal debate because I've decided it's a no for that event. And at that church social at the end of the week, I'm excited to try something new. And I'm looking at the dessert table and I already know I'm going to pick one. So I make that one count and I enjoy it. But it is incredibly freeing the rest of the week not to be constantly in limbo about my food choices. Does this sound crazy? Maybe. But if you are feeling angst about your current dietary choices compared to your current dietary aspirations, you just might want to give it a try. To recap, don't waste all your energy angsting about day-to-day food decisions all day, every day. Instead, focus on your 3 magical moments. 1, when you make your grocery list. 2, when you walk in that grocery store and say, I'm only buying what's on the list or things that look good in the produce aisle. 3, when you look at your week ahead and decide on any planned exceptions you're going to make. Those exceptions, enjoy them, anticipate them, no guilt. But the rest of the time, you can have the freedom that comes from following through on your own convictions. You're going to be able to win those brownie battles before they even begin. Now the question will be, what will you do with all that extra self-control?
We're starting to invite some prominent and fascinating doctors and scientists to the channel, and we're noticing that they pay a lot of attention to the number of subscribers and likes we get for our videos. So if you want to help us attract these fascinating doctors and scientists, please like and subscribe. We'll be so grateful. Thank you so much.